Hello and welcome. Today is a day of harvesting. We're going to start with some carrots. I'm not harvesting all of these, just a few for tonight's supper. Thin them out a bit, so I'll find the biggest, fattest carrots, which will give the smaller ones chance and space to grow. Rummaging through this lot, what have we got? That looks quite small. It is a small one. Here's a big fat thick leaf. Where's it leading? A big fat carrot, I hope. Oh yay, nice. Oh my, that's the biggest one I've had yet this year. So I'm finding the fattest looking leaf stems and then tracing them down to the carrot at the bottom, giving a wriggle and a pull, and up they come. Woohoo! What else have we got? Another one here. Oh my, look at that one. I think I'll just have to wash and munch that one raw. Not much chance of peeling it. Oh, another beauty. Oh, that one's split and also got forked roots. Another fancy carrot. And I pulled that one up by mistake. We'll have that. There, I think that'll do for today. These few here are the ones I thinned out earlier in the year and replanted. So they're growing all right. I don't know what the roots are like underneath. They're not well enough developed yet to be pulling up. And I've got the sun in my eyes. Right, off to the polytunnel to see what we can find in there to go with our carrots. I thought we'd stop by the sunflowers on our way up to the polytunnel. This is the tallest one I've got this year. It's a little bit higher than me. Its head is nowhere near as mammoth as the one we grew last year though. This one's already flowered and gone to seed. A much shorter sunflower, but it also has lots more little flowers still to come. There are 4 more little heads on this one sunflower stem, and its original head of course. The squash growing at the foot of these sunflowers have just started to shoot off across the garden. Here at the back of the sunflowers we can get an idea of scale to these squash are finally shooting off across the garden. They're big long stems. Right, to the polytunnel, that's where we're supposed to be going. Now let's do what we came to do and harvest some vegetables. The first on my list are the gherkins. I have my old towel at the ready to rub off those slightly prickly hairs on the outside. And there's one right at the front. Well, this one's not too prickly, that's nice. Gherkin number 1, in with the carrots. I can see another one back there, hiding down here. How prickly are you? Ow, prickly. 2. Rub off the prickles, make it all smooth. Nice. Any more? Oh yes, there's another one hiding. I didn't see that at first. That one snapped off nice and easy. 3 fat gherkins. Yay! No more gherkins, just 3 ready today. There's a few more little ones. A couple of days and they'll be ready. I did find a few pods of peas though. Okay, next on the list, tomatoes. They're just starting to ripen up nicely. I shall take these slightly underripe ones and let them finish ripening in the house. And I'm going to take these oh you can't see, move you back, there we go. I'm going to take these very ripe ones from the bottom. Well, that looks nice. We'll have you there. Lovely. And if we move around to the other side, More tomatoes. As I said, I'm going to take the underripe ones today as well. If they've got a blush of pink happening, I will harvest them today. They can ripen on the kitchen work surface over the next few days. Off to the next plant in the row. Let's see what we can find. I have, in the jungle of sweet corn, I have several different varieties of tomatoes that I planted. The ones I was picking a moment ago are Gardener's Delight. But in here I have a volunteer tomato that's popped itself up from last year's seeds, and they are tiny. But I had one the other day and the flavour is delicious. So even though they're small, they're worth harvesting and enjoying. And they're free because I didn't plant them this year. These little tiny ones also have a different colour shade. I don't know, a slightly purpley red. There's where standard red Gardener's Delight tomato against this darker red of the baby ones. They taste delicious though. I've planted a couple of different varieties of tomatoes this year. I have Italian Plum Tomatoes, the sort you'd normally find in a tin, and an Italian Beefsteak Tomato, which I've not grown before, with this crinkly pleated outer flesh. I'll bring you in for a close-up look at these tomatoes. Here we have the Plum Tomatoes. I've got one just starting to go red down here. So soon the rest of them will be turning. Oh, I see this one's going a bit pink. Just starting. And hiding back here, we have the Beefsteak Tomatoes. Now one of these has been getting munched. This one, I think, yes. Something's been eating this one, and I was about to snap it off the bush and throw it away, but decided no, I'm going to leave it. Whatever's been eating tomato can carry on eating that one and leave my nice ones alone. If I take this off, they might decide to start eating my good ones. And there's more to come further up the vine. Lots of these beefsteak tomatoes. Not a bad start to my harvesting. Nope. Not a bad start to the harvest. Now I'm in search of sweet corn. Now this was the first batch of sweet corn I planted this year. It's looking very dry and dead now, and I have been harvesting off it for several weeks. Oh, probably a month I'd say. I don't know if there's any cobs left. Well, there's one. Now the outside of this corn cob is also very dry, so this sweet corn might only be fit for seed now. I don't know. We'll open it up and see what it looks like. Oh, here's one. So I have 2 remaining corn cobs from this batch of sweet corn, and this one's got a little bit of greenness to it, so it might still be good. I think this might be too dry inside. I'll open it up, we'll find out. I've got some beans down there I didn't know I had. I thought I'd harvested all the beans. Right, out we come. Let's have a look at this sweet corn. Ugh. There we go. Sweet corn and some beans I didn't know were there. Don't know what these are like. My hands are all yellow and polleny. Woo, beans, nice. Any more? There's another one in here. 2. Oh! Good catch. 3rd one. Yay. Well, I'll pod those in a second. Then we'll have some beans with our harvest as well. Right, sweet corn. Let's have a look at these. Those in the basket. Put those down as well. Now this slightly green one I think will be fine. I don't know about this one. It's very dry and brown on the outside anyway. Let's see if there's any soft corn inside. Peeling off the layers. It's feeling slightly cool inside, like it might be moist still. Nearly there. Ah, yes. Sweet corn. Looks good. Still feels moist as well. Lovely. I'll leave the paper casings on this one so I know it's the one I need to eat first because it's got the dry casings. Delicious. Let's see if we can find some more in a different bed. Just spotted another dry sweet corn. Or maybe not dry. Another brown sweet corn. I think it'll be the same inside. This feels nice and cold, which suggests to me it's moist. So 3 remaining sweet corn heads from this dried out, neglected bed of sweet corn and beans. Oh, and half a dozen beans. Now this raised bed, also lacking in water and attention, is my Overflow sweet corn bed. So these were extra seedlings that had germinated and I didn't know where to plant them, so they got stuck in here and have actually been pretty neglected all summer. So anything I harvest from here is very much a bonus. And there's quite a few. I don't know how well pollinated they are though. That's always the dodgy thing in the polytunnel. Because I pollinate by hand, I either shake the plants around, run my hands through the tassels and rub it into the fluffy bits at the end of the corn. And I don't always do a good job. Come! No! My hands are full. There we go. Oh yeah. I think these are smaller cobs. They feel good though. That one's a bit bobbly. I'll open that one for interest. No, that feels very empty and flat. I'm not even going to bother pulling that off. Now then, this one I wanted to see. I don't think this is pollinated properly. I can feel it through this outer flesh. I might be wrong. Let's find out. I've got some kernels of corn in here, but I think I've got a lot of empty spaces as well. Oh, it's like pass the parcel. Just keep going and going. Can we split the top? Yeah. Ooh, better than I expected. Ah, there's what I can feel. You can see here, these empty spaces are where these little hairy bits didn't touch any pollen to pollinate that one seed. So this is what happens when you get unevenly pollinated sweet corn. You get these gaps and spaces where the kernel of corn doesn't develop because it didn't get pollinated. The corn that's on there will still taste delicious though. I've got one more patch of sweet corn. It was sown slightly later and should be perfect for harvesting now. This bed we're going to now, stepping over plants, should actually be the most productive. Although there's only a few plants here, they were planted last and are perfect for harvesting now. See where I can put you? I'll put you there. Now I'm going in here if I can get past this squash that's taking over. Oh my! Yeah, it's difficult to get around in here at this time of year. So many things growing across the floor. Now then, one row of sweet corn. Let's see what we can get. Are you ready? You feel poorly pollinated, but we're going to have you. This one feels a bit knobbly too, like the one we just looked at. 2, 3, 4. This one feels good. 5. That one's tiny. Well, there's one up here, that's why. All its energy is going up to the top. I've lost count. Is this number 6? Oh, was that number 6? I don't know. 6. Oh. Oh, can't wait. 7. 8. One other pea. 4 peas. Yay! We'll have those. Now I have 2 more cobs left. There's one here and a small one back here. I'm going to leave those for now and I can munch on them later in the week for my lunchies. Lots of sweet corn and 2 pea pods. I'm also going to pull up, I thought I'd pull it up easy, it's a struggle. Come on, onion, there. I'm going to pull up these onions before they get missed and forgotten. There's a tiny one, that was probably an onion from seed. And slightly larger ones, I suspect were onions from onion sets. They're not huge in here, they grow better outdoors. I don't think I planted any outdoors this year. Maybe, if I did, they haven't grown because I can't see any. These are quite small, but they're ready. And there's lots of them. Oh, there's a big one. And this one's going to seed. And there's one other just out of shot, also going to seed. Well, there's one hiding in the weeds. That's a small onion. Any more? And there's one. Oh, you're nice. That's that. Oh, I see. Long seedy flopped over. We'll have you. I think I've got them all. So these are pretty small for onions in general, but how much onion do you need when you're making a meal? I can always put 2 together. Perfect. And I have 2 larger ones that I did pull up the other day. They're sitting up near the pond drying. Pond and drying don't really go together, do they? The edge of the pond is dry, it's just inside that's wet. I can add these to the 2 larger ones I picked the other day. Pulled up. So lots of onions. Yummy! Now we're heading off outdoors to harvest potatoes and some fruit. Well, I was hoping to get some blackberries, but something's been eating them. I'm definitely going to have to throw a net over these today. Empty little buds. Lots more fruit to come. And there's a big branch at the back. So I'm going to come back in a minute and throw a net over here. A tiny bit. It's a little bit hiding in here, not quite ready. Oh, that's annoying. There were some yesterday. There's one. 1 blackberry. 2. How disappointing is that? 3. 4. And maybe a couple back there. So not very many blackberries. That is a disappointment. I do have blueberries though, because I remembered to put a net over them about a week ago after the birds had already made a start. Decided I was going to save the rest of the harvest for me. I did put a net on my blueberry bush though. I think something's still been in here munching on things. There's not as many as I would expect. There's a few more than this though, so I'm going to take what I can. Well, I got some. Oh, it's hard to see without tipping them out the dish. There aren't a huge amount of blueberries left on this bush, so I'm going to take its net and put them over my blackberries and see if I can save some of them for me to harvest in a week or so. There we go, blackberry netted. It's not perfect, but hopefully that'll put things off a bit and I'll get some blackberries. There's always loads growing in the hedgerows around here, so getting a blackberry harvest is pretty easy. Just takes a little time and walking. But these blackberries are thornless, so I can merrily pick without getting scratched and prickled. Oh, a most peculiar camera angle. Growing next to my thornless blackberry is this apple tree. Now this is the apple tree that was very sick last year, and I cut it down in the autumn and rescued 2 healthy looking bits of branch and grafted them back onto the remaining stump of tree, and it's doing really well. It's worked wonderfully to give this apple tree a second lease of life. Obviously no apples, and I don't actually want it to produce me apples next year either. Maybe 1, because it's doing really well. I'm very pleased. I did find some blackcurrants to bulk up my meagre blueberry and blackberry harvest. So that makes the soft fruits look a little bit better. We're here to dig up some potatoes. In this bed I've got Vivaldi and Charlotte. I think I planted them in rows. I think this is the Vivaldi, still a bit green, and the Charlottes are much browner. I don't know if there'll be much difference in the potato when I dig them up. Let's see. Potatoes! Got a box somewhere. Where is it? There. In my crate. They're not very deep, but that's because I didn't plant them very deep. And I haven't been mulching them lots either. I put them in, I covered them in a layer of grassy mulch, and they've been left to it. I've not even been watering them. And we've had some very dry spells. Where shall we go next? Over here. Oh, nice. Oh, an ant's nest. They're all going crazy. Woo! Oh, there's a potato. Oh, I found all the eggs. That'll really upset them now. Scattered their eggs everywhere. Find some queen ants with wings. Shouldn't be throwing them. I'll put them there, pick them up in a minute. Back around the other side. Put these in my basket. In we go. Oh, that's getting heavy. Not bad. So we have a mix. Vivaldi and Charlotte. I'm afraid I don't know which are which. I think the Charlottes are slightly bigger, but I'm not sure. Don't know. I wouldn't like to say for definite. I have one more bed of potatoes, and they're more accurately labelled. Another potato bed. Now this one I planted more accurately. So they came down the middle, and on this side I have accent, and on this side I have my own seed potatoes. I grew potatoes from the supermarket a couple of years ago, and they were delicious. So I saved some of them and replanted and grew more potatoes, and they were also delicious. So I don't know what variety it is. I think it's a kind of fingerling sort of potato. It has that long sort of shape to it. Interesting to see that my own are still green, although they are dying back. Whereas the accent that were bought as seed potatoes this year are looking very brown and dead. Right next to each other. So let's see what these produce. Let's start with the accent, because it's the deadest. Same conditions as the others. Put in not very deep, piled up with one heap of grassy mulch, and left to get on with it. So we get quite a few near the surface. Oh. Well, there's a nice accent. In the basket. Well, these have done well. I think better than the Charlottes. Oh, big potato! Well, they did well. They're the accent. I've got quite a few large potatoes in amongst those. Very pleased. I'm going to get another crate so we can compare what these look like once we dig them up. Here goes, last of the potatoes. My own home variety. It's just called mine and it's long. So let's see if they are long. So I'm going to have to keep some of these to grow as seed potatoes next year, because I don't know what they're called, so I can't buy any more. And they taste delicious. I could maybe try buying a fingerling potato and experimenting to see if it tastes the same. Right, round the other side. They're doing quite well. Whoa, nice. See these big long potatoes? They have a wonderful buttery flavour. These have done better than I thought they were going to. I'm very pleased. There, potatoes all harvested. The things you do for video, lying in the grass, filming potatoes. Not a bad potato harvest. I've already had an almost 30 pounds of potatoes out of the polytunnel this year. That was a mixture of all of these different varieties. And today there's at least another 30 pounds here. Probably 50 or 60 looking at it. So we've got, in the middle here, we've got Charlotte potatoes and Vivaldi, a mixture of the two. I didn't plant them as accurately and I'm not sure which are which. I just know they're the two varieties that were in this bed. Here we have the accent, and it seems to have produced larger potatoes. It didn't have any more space to grow in or any different compost than anything else. It just seems to grow a bigger potato. So these will be good for baking potatoes. We've got some decent sized ones there with the accent. So I'll certainly grow that again. And these are my own variety of fingerling style potato. It's not my variety, I didn't develop it. I just don't know what it actually is. It was grown from supermarket potatoes a couple of years ago. They taste delicious. So I keep a few back every year as seed potatoes for the next year's crop. Really what I should do is keep all of these and grow them next year. But I want to eat some, they taste so yummy. They do, they're delicious. What I will do next year, get some seed potatoes of a fingerling style. Maybe there are a couple of different fingerling sort of potatoes. I'll have to have a look and do some research. But I definitely want to try some grown from seed potatoes that I buy and see if they match up to the flavour of these. Because then I'll be able to purchase more and expand my crop of these delicious tasting buttery potatoes. And they taste delicious and buttery even before you put any butter on them. And I'm squinting because although it's cloudy, it's very bright. Okay, let's go back indoors and see what we managed to harvest. It's been a good morning. After the potatoes, here's the rest of the harvest. Oh, and there were onions as well. I've forgotten them in this photo. Well, that was a good morning in the garden. Now it's time for lunch. I've boiled some of my finger-shaped potatoes. I'll put a little butter on them now and they'll be delicious. Can't get any fresher than that. Grated some carrots. I've got my sweet corn raw, just sliced off this, I don't know we call it the cob. Sliced off the cob with a sharp knife, and I've scattered those few peas I collected on top, make it look pretty, and chopped up some tomatoes and one of the gherkins. A delicious, filling, tasty lunch. That'll be me fed for the day. Now, I didn't get as much fruit as I'd hoped, but I've taken about half the fruit I collected, a mixture of blueberries, a couple of blackberries, and I did find some black currants. Added them to some milk and put them in the smoothie maker. So that's going to be my delicious fruity drink. They would have been very nice scattered on the top of some yogurt or ice cream, but neither of those I have in the house at the moment. So fruit smoothie it'll have to be. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And remember, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.